Thanksgiving is a big week for new movies. This week we get a wartime drama, a Walt Disney adventure, and a cannibal romance. Here's Sean McBride, the movie guy, with his reviews of this week's new movie releases.
You the only person I ever met belonged in the sky.
The commanding officer called you one of the best pilots he's ever seen. It must be hard being the
naval aviator.
Devotion is a rousing Korean War drama. It's the story of one of the first black pilots to integrate into the military and his friendship with the white pilot who was his wingman. The war sequences are exciting, but Devotion flies high thanks to solid acting and an inspiring story of brothers in arms, no matter what the color of their skin might be.
Our entire world is in grave danger. I want you to come with me on an expedition.
Disney's Strange World certainly lives up to its title. This is an odd animated adventure where a family of famous explorers goes looking for the cause of crop failure in their world. Now that's the plot, but it's really a story about fathers and sons and learning to accept what makes each different and what draws them together as a family.
Can't help you anymore. I know it's not your fault. You were born this way. You ate them. I believed you had to. I don't know why.
Just in time for Thanksgiving, Bones and All is a cannibal romance road movie. It's a tale of young love and their desire for each other and their desire to consume human flesh. I found it all to be pointless and meandering, although fans of Timothée Chalamet will want to check it out.
You don't think I'm a bad person?
All I think is that I love you.
And that's what's new this week at the movies. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm Sean McBride, the movie guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sean McBride.
Here we are. It's still Thanksgiving week, so we came dressed for Thanksgiving movies. You know, frequently, Thanksgiving is one of the biggest weekends for new movies. These movies are so big that frequently we don't have any movies the next week because they're expected to still dominate the box office, and these movies are expected to play all the way through Christmas.
Wow.
And I don't think that's going to happen this year. It's kind of a weird week for movies, but hey, we have 3 big movies to talk about.
Yes, we do. Let's start with Devotion. So I was looking at this, and it looks pretty interesting. Would you say it's the best out of all 3?
Yeah, I think it would
Okay.
easily. And it's a straightforward drama. It's Jonathan Majors, who is he's an actor. He's not only is he going to be the bad guy in Creed in the spring, but he's also Kang the Conqueror in the Marvel films. This is an actor who's poised to really break out. And he plays this real life character, Jesse Brown. He's the first naval aviator. He joins the Navy after World War II, but he doesn't really get into the fight until Korean. And it's him and his story, and obviously this is the 1950s, so he's dealing with racism, he's dealing with people who don't think he should be there, and he has a wingman, and that's Glenn Powell playing Lieutenant Hubbard, and the two of them form a bond, and so it's a story about their friendship first and foremost. And the first half of this movie is them growing together, bonding with each other, and then the second half we get into the Korean War action stuff. I think that stuff is pretty good. I think it's pretty inspiring. I think that this story, though, is mostly about the men and their relationship. And I'd argue that the screenplay is a little slight. I wish these characters were a little more fully fleshed out. It's particularly like the supporting characters. Like Joe Jonas is in this movie. Nobody will ever notice him. There's a lot of people supporting characters. I guess the wife makes some impact, but for the most part, it's only about these guys, and I don't think they're fully fleshed out. I wish they spent a little more time on the characters, on the screenplay. But I do think the action's pretty good. I think the heroism is laudable. I think the story of 2 men putting aside, the contemporary racial animosity and saying, no, we're just going to be there for each other because we're brothers in arms. I think that's all great. So I think, yeah, Devotion is the best film of the week.
And I see it says it's based off of a true story.
Yeah,
so,
real life
wow.
guy, yeah. Because I'm thinking, why Devotion? But the book is named Devotion.
Okay,
so the real
so
story,
it's a book
yeah,
turned
into a
film.
movie. But this is a real life guy, a Korean War hero. First man to integrate into the Naval Air Force. So
let me ask you this: have you read the book?
I have not read the book.
I wonder. What
I'd
would be the
never heard of
difference
the book
between-
before the movie.
Right, because those that watch books and then they watch the movie, they're like, they either love it or they hate it because
Yeah.
it didn't play out how they thought it would.
You
or
can never get
something's
everything in
changed.
the book into the movie, and so it's like we were talking about Where the Crawdads Sing just a few days ago, and it's like, oh, I love that book, and I really didn't like the movie, but I think this movie's good, and it's certainly the best option to take your family to this Thanksgiving.
Got it. All right, let's move on over to Strange World.
Strange World is a strange film living up to its title. This is Walt Disney, an animated Walt Disney movie. I don't know if you remember back in the day, we had all those Disney princess movies, and Disney, someone said, we need to make movies for the boys too. And so they made Treasure Planet and Atlantis, and nobody remembers these movies because
Okay.
they just didn't have characters that we cared about. And I fear that that's going to be the case here also. It's a story about, it's a fathers and son story. So it begins with this father, he's trying to get over these insurpassable mountains, and the son, who's more of a scientist farmer, he sees this plant and says, oh, that plant, it has pent up energy in the fruit, so he wants to take the plant back down and power his community, and the father wants to go exploring, and they split up, and then 25 years later, the plant is failing, and now the son has to go exploring and try and find out why, and now he's taking his own son on him. Look, it's a weird story, sit in a weird place, and I guess part of the fun is that we have all these creatures, these monsters. Most of them don't make much of an impact. There is one little squirmy creature called Splat, which I think is funny, that you gotta have that one cute character. But for the most part, it's these three, it's the grandfather, the father, and the son, and I'm not sure I cared about their relationships that much. Once again, I don't think it's really written well, and I don't think that the environmental message generally works. I mean, this idea that you got to take care of the whole planet, not just the crops that you care about. Okay, yeah, but I'm not sure that I cared that much about it. So weird film, strange film, and I think
living up to the title, strange.
Yeah,
Do you think
exactly.
it's more of a entertainment or educational, or a combination of the two?
Oh, I don't think it's educational because it's set on a outer space planet. I'm not exactly sure where this is supposed to be, but excuse me. But I think the father and son thing is reason to see that, and that's okay. And the animation, it's aimed for boys. It's got the action and stuff, but I just didn't think it was anything super special. Considering Walt Disney Pictures, we frequently see good stuff for them.
I would agree, because
Okay.
I'm the one, I would tune into some Walt Disney.
Yeah,
Really good.
but you probably won't care for this one.
And
So.
after you say that, I don't think I will. All right, let's move on over to Bones and All, which I am not in favor of this. Cannibalism,
Yeah.
romance, the combination of the two does not
I mean,
sound like something I want to
Cannibals
watch.
just can't get a fair shake in the world these
Why
days.
are they making this?
This is
into movie?
he's talking about the last film being strange. This is a weird one.
They're getting worse and worse.
Look, it's Timothy Chalamet, so he has
Okay.
his fans. They will certainly be there. This is the story about a young girl, and she is an eater. She has this compulsion to chomp on human flesh, which means that she frequently has to run out of her communities before the police arrive. And so she's on the road. Her dad basically abandons her and says, look, I can't help you anymore. Here's a little bit of money. Here's some information about your mama, who is also an eater. So it's a road movie. And as she's on the road, she meets other eaters, and one of those is Timothy Chalamet. And so it's this weird little romance because they feel like they have the same desires, but I didn't really buy it. I think it's supposed to be that this is a metaphor for teenagers feeling like the world just doesn't get me, man.
Mm-hmm.
And if only people would understand that I have these needs, and if I can find people who know me and they're my tribe. I didn't buy any of that. I didn't like the metaphor here. Timothy Chalamet is playing a kind of an emo, quiet character, whereas you have characters like Mark Rylance, who is just all over the place, chomping on scenery, making a very showy performance on this road movie. I just don't think it works. So.
I want to know, where are they eating? Are they dead people? Are they killing people?
No, we're
Like,
not going to
where's
spoil
the
anything.
mystery here?
Yeah, exactly.
I did see a body being drugged,
Yeah.
so I'm like, did they kill someone?
So
like,
Mark
where are they getting this food
Rylance
from?
is like the older cannibal, and he's got to teach them how to do this and survive in the world. Look, it's just a weird thing. I suppose young teenagers might be interested in it, but I can't imagine that anybody really cares about this film.
All right,
You're
let's move on.
speechless, aren't you?
Let's move on here. The Fabelmans.
Oh, The Fabelmans, we just want to mention, so Steven Spielberg's movie, The Fabelmans, is opening up in theaters this week, but it didn't come to Beaumont. But it is generally considered to be one of the top 3 movies of the year. If you want to make that run to Houston, you could check it out there. That is playing there. I think this is a really amazing movie. It will get here because it will absolutely be nominated for an Academy Award, but it didn't open wide enough this week to come into Southeast Texas. Also, by the same token, we have a movie called Glass Onions, which is it's the sequel to Knives Out. That's not opening in here as well. You can go to Houston and see it. both of these movies will open up later. We'll talk about Glass Onion when it comes on Netflix in 3 weeks, and The Fabelmans, I suspect we're probably 3 or 4 weeks away from that here too.
So this Fabelmans is in theaters?
In Houston.
In Houston, got it.
But not here in Southeast Texas.
All right, well, thank you guys. Sean joins us every week with news movies coming out on theaters and on streaming platforms. Anything to look forward to before we close out here?
You know, I would say next week, normally we don't have movies the week after Thanksgiving. We have one movie called Violent Night, which is a Santa Claus as a kick-butt action hero. I think it looks like a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to seeing this one.
Looking forward to talking about it. All right, thank you, Sean. All right.
All right.
Thank you, guys.